Ms. KÜHNEL, how does the Austrian Federal Economic Chamber see this renewed focus, I think this one is yours, of the federal government on Africa? Where do you see the most potential for cooperation? Is it the official visits of chancellors and ministers we have heard about before?
Yes, good morning from our side as well. Thanks for joining us. It's really nice to have a full room here. You're all waiting maybe for the football star who is after us, but we tried to entertain you in the meantime. Where do we see the potential? We see great potential in Africa. We see great potential because of diversification. We have 80% of Austrian exports going to the European Union at the moment. And as Africa is the second fastest growing market, we need to intensify our actions there. And therefore we are really thankful that there is a focus on Africa, on the Austrian government as well at the moment. As Vice President Kamengobi mentioned already, we visited 8 countries only the last 12 months, so more than the last 5 years, I might say. This is great. We see great trends in Africa. You heard about the growth. This is necessary, and there we see big potential in urbanization. We see big potential in infrastructure. Only infrastructure counts for 150 billion investments that are going to take part within the next 5 years, and Austrian companies are really good in that. So this is one of the things we want to focus on. Energy, of course, the renewable energy, solar, photovoltaic, and so on. All this is key, and so high-level diplomat visits play an important role. And so we are thankful that the government is so keen on Africa as we are.
Okay. Now, Mr. LAUNSKY, after 30 years plus in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs as an ambassador and Secretary General, you have been named Special Envoy of the Federal Chancellor of Global Affairs. Can you maybe explain why does Austria need such a special envoy for global affairs, and what do you aim for? Because maybe just as an explanation, Austria had a special envoy for Africa of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs from 2005 till 2010. Maybe you can also explain in which areas you want to continue the work that has been done by the former special envoy, Ambassador Lenk, back then, and where do you plan, or where can we expect new initiatives from your side?
Big thank you. Wonderful good morning also on my part. Big thank you to the Economic Chamber and to you, Mariana, for making this event possible. It's become a fixture on all our calendars, and it's great to see the interest in developments in Africa. And it was great when I walked in this morning, I met a representative of an Austrian company who said, it's better than it's ever been, not just the event today, but doing business and working in and with Africa. And I think that was kind of a morale booster from the very start. Big thank you to the Economic Chamber, to the representative of Austrian businesses, representatives of civil society. Congratulations, félicitations. À la victoire de la Côte d'Ivoire contre le Sénégal hier soir. As an Austrian, one should not talk about Africa, one should listen to Africa. And I think many of the visits that Mariana and Vice President Gobi referred to gave us an opportunity to listen and to understand better what the needs are and how we can meet those needs with the kind of expertise that Austrian businesses and other Austrian institutions dispose of. And we are aware that there is a certain level of disillusionment in Africa. The President referred to it early on. I think we fell short of the expectations that our African partners rightfully had vis-à-vis us. And that's why it's so important to listen better and to kind of take a new step towards a partnership much more at eye level. And I think that's the kind of the underlying objective not just of the role of a special envoy, but of all of us who care about Africa and who would like to take advantage of the potential that President of Ghana had referred to early on. And my doors are open. What's very important, you made a reference that there used to be a special envoy on Africa, Ambassador Lenk, who is among us today. He's the true Mr. Africa in Austria, and there's a lot I can learn from him. Big thank you to you. I think you've done groundbreaking work, and you still do. And we are delighted. To be able to come and ask you for your advice and your counsel. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. KÜHNEL, you already mentioned a delegation to Kenya and Tanzania. Can you maybe explain what does Advantage Austria offer the participating companies there, and what impressed you most on your journey? Can you maybe also give some examples, some success stories you've experienced there?
Yes, of course. Our job with these visits is to open the doors for Austrian companies. Open doors, it's much easier if we have government representatives with us, because a lot of the growth potential is in public sector, so public procurement, and there it really much helps if we have officials with us. Besides that, our job on the ground is we have offices, so whatever you need on local corporations, on opening local networks, on finding potential distribution partners, that's all our job, including inspiration with, for example, look out our TV, where you see African news even if you're not in Africa. What impressed me most on my trip to Kenya and Tanzania was that Austrian companies are maybe not the cheapest, but we are well known for the quality we have. We are well known for the loyalty we have towards towards Africa, and it's really much appreciated. The effort is really much appreciated. And in Kenya, we had as well with us some financial facility worth 40 million. So it's always easier if you have a bilateral financing agreement for Austrian companies to really open the doors and get then good contracts. And I was really impressed about how eager the young population in Africa, and especially in Kenya and Tanzania, is. And no matter if we visited a football initiative, an Austrian football initiative in Nairobi, Akakara, where they get young boys out of the slums, educate them, offer them a football education combined with vocational training. Austria is famous for. And this is one of the initiatives where you saw sparkling eyes, really motivated young people, eager to perform, no matter if it's sports or afterwards business. And this was one of the really nice examples I brought with me. But it's not only such initiatives. We have huge companies there, like in Kenyatta Hospital. We opened the phase 3 with the minister together, or a classical SME from Austria, Münzer, where they do circular economy with used oil. So there are a lot of examples where Austrian companies are already really successful there.
Thanks, Mariana KÜHNEL. Mr. LAUNSKY-Tiefenthal, the African-EU partnership was formally established in the year 2000 at the first Africa-EU summit in Cairo, and the EU adopted a joint Africa-EU strategy in 2007. Can you explain why does Austria need a national Africa strategy, and can you tell us a bit about this Africa strategy from Austria?
Thank you so much. I get that the European Union overall is the largest trading partner, the largest investor, and the largest cooperation partner of Africa, of the African continent and nations in Africa. And in that sense, this framework of an EU-wide strategy is invaluable. However, in order to be able to cater to the actual needs of our partners and to identify the expertise of Austrian companies, to do it more profoundly, it appears to us necessary to also establish an Austrian national strategy for Africa. There have been a number of attempts in the past. Currently, this draft strategy is in consultations between the coalition partners of the Austrian government. But I think the main goal really is to, as I said earlier on, to listen to our African partners, to learn from the experience, the expertise of Austrian companies who've been successfully working in those markets for far longer than politics would have taken care of Africa. I think there's a lot we can learn. And in the visits that Mariana referred to, we saw the successes after 30, 40 years of activities in partner countries. And I think it shows that we should not be there for a one-up successful venture, but we would like to be a partner at eye level of Africa for a long time to come. And such a strategy should provide the guidance towards such a goal.
Ms. KÜHNEL, back to you. As a former Chief Policy Advisor to Othmar Karas, Member of the EU Parliament, what role should the EU play in our relations to Africa? And having the special envoy of the Federal Chancellor of Global Affairs here, maybe also what can be done on a national level or should be done on a national level to further improve our chances of good Austrian African business?
I think we need both. We need the European level as well as the Austrian level. Austria is unfortunately not so big, so we need the European Union as a strong partner towards Africa, and as you mentioned, really on eye level and negotiating a beneficial agreement for both sides. I think this is the crucial element on economic parts, on social parts, but as well on diplomatic parts. And hopefully, after the European election, we see this focus from the European Union towards Africa, because this is strongly needed, and we would highly appreciate this focus. This focus is as well needed because other continents and other countries do have the focus already. If you look, for example, on Chinese exports, the last 30 years, it's now 72 times than it was 30 years ago, and it counts now more than 80 billion. So I think the European Union has a lot to catch up and to really focus on Africa as continent of potential. And the next time I visit Nairobi, I would appreciate if there would be an Austrian railway going through the city, and maybe not the Chinese one. This would be my big wish. Okay. And on the Austrian part, I think there is a strategy, there is a focus, and I think initiatives like Go International with the Austrian Economic Ministry, as well as our joint initiatives on Refocus, these are exactly the initiatives we need.
May I just add something? We very much welcome the fact that Italy has decided yesterday to focus much more on Africa as part or as a result of a summit between Italy and African nations, something in fact that Austria hosted back in 2018 as the first EU member state. During our EU presidency, I remember at that time more than 1,000 companies, not just from Austria, but from the entire European Union, gathered together with heads of states and governments from Africa. To talk about what is it that we can do to work closer together. And in that sense, we welcome not just the initiative by Italy yesterday, but also the financial means that are being made available for cooperation, not just between Italy and Africa, but between EU member states, other partners, Italy and Africa.
You already mentioned 2018 when Austria hosted the high-level Forum Africa, and one of the projects initiated back then was the Kofi Annan Award for Innovation in Africa. Can you maybe tell a bit more about this project, please?
Yeah, back in 2018 it was being decided that it would be important to provide an incentive to young entrepreneurs in Africa involved with digitalization of services in different sectors, and recognize these developments by providing support in scaling up those services on a much larger scale. In 2021, the first so-called Kofi Annan Award, named after the 7th UN Secretary General, Kofi Annan, and in close cooperation with the World Food Programme, with the Austrian Development Agency and the Austrian Federal Chancellery. We are now in the second round of an award. Back in 21, it focused on the issue of health services, and this time around on SDG 2, zero hunger, and initiatives that would help us to more successfully combat the challenges that hunger poses, unfortunately still in parts of Africa, is at the center. There's an international jury. We had more than 400 entries back in 21. This year we have nearly 300, but we still encourage entrepreneurs to come forward and put in their applications until the 8th of February, and looking forward to the many fascinating projects and to be able to support them.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Secretary General Mariana KÜHNEL and Special Envoy Peter LAUNSKY-Tiefenthal.